Yeah, look, District 3, we've seen an increase. We live in one of the most dense places in our city. And when affordability got difficult for our family, my grandmother bought our home in 1947. We turned our house into a triplex back in 2001, where she was able to age in place as we saw our neighborhood changing and getting more unaffordable. And so a couple ways in which we can attack this. We can streamline our building process for permits. It took us 3 months to get a building permit. You'd be hard pressed for a year or 2 years to get permits in our city. So we have to streamline our building process. The second piece is that we have to build more family housing. We have built a lot of single rooms, a lot of studios, but we have to be a city that's more welcoming to young families, and we have to build more family housing as well. So any type of housing is needed. And then duplexes, triplexes, ADUs, all the people that are trying to age in place to being add to density into their neighborhoods, we should be welcoming that to streamline that process.
Yeah, I am a renter myself, and so I know how important this issue of affordability is and how much it is becoming harder and harder to make your paycheck take you through the month after you pay your rent. I'm on the board of one of the largest affordable housing providers in King County, and so I've spent years working on this issue, organizing my community to help to build one of the largest affordable housing projects completed in Seattle in the last 60 years. It's got 350 units of housing. And I live in one of the densest places in Seattle. But I know that our comprehensive plan is going to call for us to add more housing in more places, and we need to be able to do that faster, cheaper, and easier. There are things like streamlining our permitting. We've been doing like Portland does and bringing it all under one roof, or like Auburn and creating an ombudsman program. We need to invest in deep affordability. We need to increase the supply, and we need to do this very quickly so that everyone can have a safe, affordable place to live. Yeah, one of the things about Capitol Hill is this is home to the East Precinct, and so our police officers are right here in this neighborhood, and we are still seeing these rates of crime. So we need to ask ourselves, what are the fuller and better solutions to make sure that we have as lovely a place that reaches its full potential? And we know what those effective solutions are. We need mental and behavioral health centers so that people who are very sick in our streets and who are causing a lot of disruption have somewhere that they can go and get the treatment that they need so that they can get better, not just this cruel cycle that keeps continuing. We need to be investing in our small businesses and making sure that they have the resources that they need in order to address some of the issues that are going on. We need to build more housing for folks. We can have things like they have in the university district where they have neighborhood ambassadors. We can increase the lighting and increase through SEPTED, which is safety through environmental design. There's a lot of work that we can do on this issue.
Yeah, look, one of the places, specifically Cal Anderson Park, has to have better lighting. That place has become unfortunately, at night, a place where a lot of activity has happened. We do have an East Precinct, but at any point in time, they have 12 officers, and they ride in units of cars, double pairs, so it's six units out there. If they're all responding to a priority 1 call, which is like unfortunately, the car that ran through one of the retail shops here on Capitol Hill through the front door, all of them are at that one place, and so there's other places they cannot respond to. And so we're talking about lighting, we're talking about creating like these safe environments, lowering our response time, our Health One department, which we have our fire department here on Capitol Hill, which is one of the most busiest fire departments responding to different stuff, whether it's overdoses, whether it's connecting with neighbors and connecting with resources. We have to ensure that they have a lot of the resources that they need to respond to that as well. So specifically in Capitol Hill, we're talking about Health One, fire department, and ensuring that we have low response time for our department. Yeah, I'm on board for that plan, and what that means is we could spend $1,500 a year to mentor a kid, or it's $40,000 to put them in Echo Glen. And so if we can invest in our kids now, particularly at middle school, right, before they get into high school, because they're ripe at the age of vulnerability in middle school, we could set them on pathways that are healthy pathways that keep them out where we don't need the youth detention center anymore. And so that's the investment that we want to see. That's a good goal to work towards, and I support it wholeheartedly with those investments.
Yeah, obviously we do not want to see children in jail, and we should always be building towards a society that does better than that. One of the things that we passed in April was the crisis care levy, and that is going to have a special crisis center that is just for young people. I think that would be an incredible transition away from basically the school to prison pipeline and towards a world that invests in our young people and creates a pathway to them being able to heal and thrive. We have seen shameful levels of displacement and gentrification in the Central District and throughout South Seattle. And part of that is because, as you mentioned, the wealthy white neighborhoods have been able to successfully prevent additional housing being built in their communities, and that needs to stop. We also need to make sure that we're protecting and bringing folks back through things like the right of first return, like at the Liberty Bank project. We need to make sure that we're supporting affordable home ownership, like the program that was passed at the state. We need to be doing automatic enrollment and property tax deferral so elders can have their costs get brought down. We need to be investing in maintenance so you don't lose your house because you can't afford a new roof. We need to be also investing in our equitable development initiative, which helps to build community around housing. We need to make it so that Black developers can get in on this too, right? So that Black people are not just recipients of housing, but get to build intergenerational wealth through both home ownership and development.
Yeah, this one is really passionate to me just because I've seen our neighborhood change significantly in the Central District and been on the forefront of trying to ensure that a lot of our neighbors that look like me are able to keep their home and be able to age in place and pass it down to generations after generations. I mentioned before that we turned our house into a triplex to be able to afford affordability. There's a lot of people that want to do that, but they don't know how. They didn't have the funds. They didn't have the technical assistance to be able to do that. And so if we can offer more innovative programming that are able to transition people that can age in place and be able to turn their house into different type of multifamily housing units, that's perfect. We can invest in HomeSite, which creates their Sam Smith program, which allows people, first-time home buyers. Representative Taylor passed a great bill at the state level for people to be able to come back into the Central District to purchase homes, and it matches your down payment assistance as well. You have your Liberty Bank, and you also have Africatown that's done a phenomenal job of bringing homes and people back into the community. Yeah, for me, it's about public safety. We have phenomenal transportation options in our district. I know that other districts are not as fortunate as us in our district, District 2, or it's really difficult to travel between east and west in our city. But one of the things, and we've been piecemealing a lot of the transportation stuff going on in our city, whether it's from Sound Transit to our, metro rapid rides to different pieces. But for me specifically, we would make it more affordable for a lot of the bus drivers and a lot of the service operators and maintenance workers to be able to afford to live in our city with workforce housing, so they can be able, we don't have those missing ghost buses, but we have a lot of opportunities for the people that are operating them.
Yeah, my family lives without a car, and I have spent over 5 years as a leader in transportation policy here in the state of Washington. And I've helped to lead very significant and progressive investments in making transit better for the 30% of people in our state who can't or don't drive. One thing we need to be really clear about here, and what the city can do, is increase transit reliability. The Route 8 goes through our district, and it is one of the top 10 busiest routes in the city of Seattle, and it has the lowest reliability. That means that every time our taxpayer dollars are going into an hour of service that's getting stuck in traffic, we are taking people's time, we are driving people away from transit, and we are making it so that you can't count on that ride. So I want to see us be allocating more of our right-of-way to be increasing transit reliability so that we can meet our climate goals, we can meet our mobility goals, and we can address people's basic affordability. I ride my bicycle around all the time, so I feel the jarringness of our unmaintained roads just as much as anybody. The city is going to have 7 months to pass a Move Seattle levy, which is a major investment in our transportation infrastructure, its maintenance and operation, and that's going to be on your ballot in November of 2024. So your city council is going to have 7 months to figure out how we do a decade worth of investments in our right-of-way to make it safe, reliable, and well-maintained. maintained. That, of course, does include the ability to make sure that our roads and streets are, of course, safe for people, and that they are well maintained so that we can increase the basic mobility of people regardless of what mode you're in.
Some of the basic infrastructure of our city, as we have continued to grow, has been neglected. And so, you know, you're looking at crosswalks next to schools that need to be well lit. We're looking at other crosswalks that need to be repainted, the potholes that are going on in our city, and just the basic day-to-day infrastructure within our city, from the widening of our sidewalks to the lights. Look, I knew about our corner. I live on the corner of 23rd and John, and we saw accidents every single day, one day a month for the last five years. And I pointed a camera, and I was able to make that corner safer just by showing the amount of accidents that were happening, just basic infrastructure in our city. It took me 5 years with a camera, which it shouldn't have. But however, you know, that goes to show you about, as we have increased and grown as a city, we cannot forget our water, our sewer, our garbage, all the things that are the infrastructure in our city.